Hey guys, this is the first video in my new series, Teach Yourself How to Draw. So I'm self-taught. I never took art lessons or nothing, and you can see some of my work here. I've done commissioned work. I upload videos to YouTube and Instagram of me doing artwork, and I feel like it's more important to teach yourself how to draw than have somebody else teach you. So that's what I'm going to aim to do in this series. If I can show you some methods, then you can teach yourself. Like the video if it helps, and subscribe to the channel, and let's start drawing. So as you can see, I sketch with a pencil in my mouth because I do not have arms. Anyway, I can't really teach you how to hold the pencil unless you're doing it with your mouth as well. I can show you some resources here that I recommend, and I'll put the link to these in the description of the video. But I highly recommend making sure you're at least confident holding a pencil to start sketching. It's kind of an important part of sketching, is holding the pencil. So in this first video, I really wanted you to be able to gauge yourself and get an idea of where you're up to, whether you've been sketching for years and you want to learn more, or whether you're a beginner and you want to teach yourself how to draw from scratch. In fact, I recommend pausing the video now and then just making some basic shapes and seeing where you're at, because this first episode is really all about you learning more about yourself and your art talents, where they currently are at. And there's no right or wrong place to start, and that's why I highly recommend the method that we're going to be using in this series, which is teaching yourself how to draw. So I've just started drawing some random shapes here, and anyone can do that. They don't even have to be good. Your circle does not have to be perfectly round, nor does your triangle have to have 3 equal sides. But just start doodling, making some shapes. What I'm doing now is I used to do this at school in my textbooks, which did not go down well with the staff. I used to do these dog-eared corners on the side of the page, just something fun, something quick to do, and I'm shading that as well now, because I think it's good for your creativity to not just sketch yourself into a box, like figuratively, to just be doing one style. Because if you've never attempted shading, or if you've never attempted doing abstract art or realism, how do you know that you're not good at it? So try different things. You can see here that I've started filling the page with just random things that come to mind, and I recommend you save this piece of paper, even if you don't like whatever you've started with, especially if you don't like what you started with, because you'll be able to use this as like a benchmark as you continue to learn. I should say also, it doesn't matter what tools you're using, doesn't matter if you haven't got an art pencil or you're using a ballpoint pen. Anything that you can put on a piece of paper or a canvas or the wall, if you've got cleaning products to clean it off the wall, and as long as the wall is yours, any way that you want to make art, especially at this stage, but really ever. I've done commissioned artwork which I've sold, and dozens of times was just using one HB pencil. I wasn't aware of using special equipment. So don't use that as a reason to hesitate because you think you're not ready or you don't have the stuff, because you do. As long as you can just start drawing, then you're good to go. So you can see I've put some letters from my name down here, and that's another great way to tap into your skills, or to gauge where you're at, is everyone knows their own name, and start sketching your name, start drawing it in different styles, not different fonts necessarily. Try drawing it in 3D, try drawing it in block letters. I think it's a good way to draw shapes and lines that you're familiar with, but you can do it in different ways to see where your creativity lies. Right, so you can see here I'm doing some shading. This is another simple exercise. There's many different methods to shading. I recommend that at least early on, you just figure out what works for you. Obviously, if you push the pencil or tool into the paper harder, it will make it darker. But you can see the way I'm shading here is not necessarily by pushing it harder, but just by going over the same piece of paper repeatedly, it makes it darker. So with the lighter square, I just go over once and we're done. So just experiment with making shadows, doing different shades. Now if you want to exercise yourself doing line work, making sure you're drawing steady lines, consistent lines, stickmen are a great place to start, and they're very basic. There's not a whole lot of thinking involved. They just go ahead, and most people have arms and legs and a body. So just give them a shot. And I'm going to use this shape here that I've drawn, sort of like a splash of paint, if you will. And you can see here that when I did that, the lines didn't connect. So I'm going to do another splash of paint down here, and you can see that I'm not doing a single line, I'm sketching it, I'm going over it repeatedly, and I find it a lot easier to close the line now because of that. So I recommend even drawing your lines in different ways like that, to see which option works best for you. So that's just a workaround that I've found that helps me with my line work to make it more accurate. But never be afraid to try different things, and you'll see what works for you. But the most important thing, experimenting with these different styles and just putting something down on a piece of paper, 5 pieces of paper, 10 pieces, until you feel confident that you know what style, maybe not what style you're good at, but just what you're interested in, and then you can continue to learn from there. So I've mentioned several times that a good place to start here is with basic or simple shapes, but you can try to make more complex drawings right from the start. In fact, I recommend that as well. No one's going to laugh if you're not good, or if they are, just don't show them. But you can see I've taken the circle from earlier, and I'm going to draw another circle, and this time I'm going to make it a sphere with shading. So what that means is pretty much we've got the sun on one side of this circle, where the shadow would lie, where the shading would be darkest, etc. So it's good to just maybe attempt something that's out of your comfort zone, or something a little bit more complex, even right from the start, because who knows, you might be really good at it, and you don't even have to watch these videos because you're like Van Gogh or something. But do watch these videos, actually subscribe and like them, please. So like I talked about earlier, there's different methods you can use when you're sketching lines, and I'm just doing the same line here multiple times with different techniques. I'm doing it, soft, dark, sketched, just to see how it looks. That's not so much trying to find where your talent lies, but it's more or less trying to find what aesthetic is most pleasing to you, or what you like to draw. So one exercise I will recommend before the end of the video, thank you for watching by the way, is to experiment with straight lines. See how good you are at doing a straight line. Even if you plan on doing organic artwork, with no straight lines, curved lines, natural aesthetics, it's still important to have a good fundamental understanding of how well you can do a straight line. So if you do several right next to each other, then you get a good guide. You can use each one as a guide for the next one, and you can do that hundreds of times, or you can do it 2 or 3 times, and you might say, hey, I'm really good at drawing straight lines, I don't need to keep doing this. But either way, it's a good training tool, and it's a good representation of how much control you have over the pencil. In next week's video, we're going to be talking about where you start with a sketch, whether you start with the details, whether you start with the outline, and how that affects the rest of the picture. Thanks for watching. Like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in episode 2 as we continue to teach ourselves how to sketch.